Howdy from Arlington, Texas, y'all. Hope this video finds you well. What I got today is a video response for Dustin and Blake. He wants you to show off your regular guys. Who do you collect that's a regular guy? And this guy I don't consider a regular guy like some of the other ones do, because some of the other ones are, he's a regular guy because he may not have the typical athlete body. Um, I think it's okay for me to say that about John Kruk since he says it about himself. It has nothing to do with his ability or a lack of ability or anything like that. This has to do, and I have shown this collection of cards before. It's a small collection. He only has 9 cards, and I have them all. But it is of David Most. And why is he a regular guy to me? David was drafted out of the University of West Virginia. Hey, you dumbasses. It's West Virginia University. Bunch of fuckfaces. Where he struck out 15 Cleveland State batters in one game earlier this year. He also spent 2 years at Fairmont State, where he earned all conference honors before pitching for West Virginia in 2000 and 2001. If you look just a little bit closer, if we focus, you will see that he was born in November of 1978 in Morgantown, West Virginia. And if you're newer to my channel, you wouldn't know this, but maybe some of the people that have subscribed for a couple years would remember. I played baseball growing up with Dave. My first 2 seasons I played when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade. We were actually on the same team. I'd say we were pretty good because over 2 years we were 25-1. We lost 1 game over 2 years. And the second year, Dave was one of our pitchers, and guess who was the catcher? It was me. And I moved to a different, they had different parks in town that you could play. I moved to a different park so that I could move up a league, where I went as a 10-year-old. Where I had been playing, you had to stay in the lower league. As a 10-year-old at another park, you went to a level up, and that's what I chose to do, and I stayed there through the rest of my very mediocre youth baseball career. So I never played with Dave again. But we didn't actually go to school together in elementary school, but junior high and high school, we went to school together. I went to WVU. Dave was somebody I would call an acquaintance. We weren't good friends, but he's a super nice guy. Always got along. Never had any issues with Dave. He was a hell of a nice guy. I went to WVU for 4 years. He pitched a couple years there. So this is his very first card from 2001, the Vermont Expos team set. And there you can see some of his statistics early on, 2000, 2001. So I guess those are his West Virginia stats. Let me see here. No, those would have been his first 2 seasons. So 4.38 ERA, 5.11 win-loss record. So that is his 2001 card. That was the Vermont Expos. 2002, he was with the Clinton Lumber Kings. I have a couple of these here, and then I actually have like 5 more of them sitting around somewhere. But as you can see there, in 2001, he pitched in 19 games, was 4-3 with a 1.54 ERA. 1 save. You can see all the other stats there, but that was his second year card. And then in 2003, this is his 2003 Brevard County Manatees card. Get a little more stats there. Kind of how he did in 2002. At Clinton, he had a 1.87 ERA, 35 games, had 5 saves, and then Brevard County had 4 saves with a 5.32. Um, you never know. He was one of those crafty lefties, and who knows if things had gone differently, if he could have had a long, he maybe could have made it to the majors and had one of those long careers as a reliever or a middle reliever. But I will say that his managers in the minors couldn't figure out what the hell they wanted to do with him. He was a starter, then he was a closer, then he was a starter. It's kind of hard on a player. So this is actually not Dave's picture, but this is a 2003 Florida State League top prospects card. So this was a kind of like a minor league set. This was, something you would buy at a stadium or whatever. And, even though I'm using him I'm saying I'm using him for my regular guy because he's a guy like me. I know him. I grew up with him, and he wasn't, he didn't act like he was all that like a lot of star athletes do. But I will say that in that same set, there were some other names you might have heard of. In that top prospect set, you also had just 5 of the names: Robinson Cano, Curtis Granderson, Ryan Howard, Joe Mauer, and David Wright. And I will say those guys had a pretty solid career. So we're already at 6 minutes, so we'll kind of hustle through the rest of these. He then made it up to Double-A with the Harrisburg Senators. I believe they were still Expos here. And then they became the Potomac Nationals when the Expos became the Nationals, obviously. Maybe I had these out of order because there's another Harrisburg card. I must have had those out of order. But anyway, there's another Harrisburg. And then he played a couple, no, that's Harrisburg again. And then he did play a year of independent ball with the York Revolution. I do know that he was released by the Nationals while he was recovering from a shoulder injury. Pretty awesome. Awesome of them. But anyway, so that's my regular guy because, I grew up with him. He was a nice guy. He was, like I said, not that typical, stereotypical dick. And I know now, we're Facebook friends. We actually chat once in a while. He's gone back and watched the video I've done before on his stuff, and he listens and he'll send me Facebook messages at random times. But he's, he's living his life, living in the hometown. He's married, married with a family, and he's just a regular guy like you and me. He just had a lot more talent at baseball than we did. But that's what I got for today. I appreciate it, especially if you hung all the way through. And I'll just leave you with: be smart, be safe, don't be a dickhole, and I'll see you down the road.